Hello friends and potential friends. Well, you may have seen me harvest this head of Napa cabbage the other day, and at the time I said I might just turn it into sauerkraut. Well, I got looking in my fermenting guide, and the last recipe in here is white kimchi, and it happens to be specific to Napa cabbage. Not only that, it says that normally kimchi is eaten when it's fairly new, and I only have to ferment this for about 3 to 5 days instead of the 2 to 3 weeks like regular sauerkraut calls for. So I'm going to give my shot at making some kimchi. Ingredients call for 1 medium Napa cabbage, about 2 pounds, and I did weigh this and it's about 2 pounds. 2 tablespoons of salt, plus 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 large carrot. I don't have any large carrots, or at least nothing that I would call a large carrot, but I do have 3 smaller ones here. This last one I just picked this morning. 1 bunch of scallions. Don't have any scallions either, but I do have a little bit of bunching onions that I just pulled out of the garden. 1 teaspoon of minced ginger. That's this guy. You may have seen me harvest the ginger a while back. Well, I dehydrated a bunch of it and then put it through my herb grinder, turned it into powder. So that looks pretty minced to me. And then 1 garlic clove. All I have is elephant garlic right now, because I haven't harvested any of that that's growing out in the garden. So I'm probably going to wind up using maybe half of this one. And part I'm not so sure about, 1 teaspoon of sugar. I also have my pickle poker, pickle pounder, whatever you want to call it. I've got a mason top lid, and I think they call this guy a pickle pebble. That's just to weight everything down. I've already done some preparation. I've got my jar here nice and clean, and I took one of the leaves and I cut it out roughly the size of the jar, so I'll put that in on top once I get that jar filled up. So let's get into it. Now I'm going to have to do this in a number of steps because there's a 2-hour rest time in between a couple of the steps. First, I've got to cut up the Napa cabbage into quarters, put it in my popcorn bowl, and then sprinkle the sugar or the salt, the 2 tablespoons of salt, onto the quarters to make sure I get some in between all the leaves. Then I put a plate on top of it with something heavy on top of that, cover the bowl up, and let it sit for 2 hours. So let's start off with hacking up the Napa. I think if I cut it right here, that will accomplish getting it into 2 pieces, and I just pull it apart. That's pretty. Now I do that one more time for each half. Pull it apart. Go through this one, pull it apart. And there we have 4 quarters of Napa cabbage. Now these I just put into the bowl. This is my popcorn bowl. I call it that because when I was a kid Anytime we had popcorn, Mom served it in that bowl. Now, the instructions say to put all this into the bowl, and then I have to sprinkle the salt into it to make sure it gets down between all the leaves. And that's going to be easier said than done, so I'm going to do this in stages. Put that one in there. And put that one in there. Okay, that's the 2 tablespoons of sugar, or of salt. Keep saying sugar. That's because I'm hung up on that sugar. I'm not accustomed to putting sugar in anything, except jelly. So, a little bit unusual to me. I need a smaller plate. Let's see if I have a smaller plate. I bet one of these will work. That one might do it. Yeah, that will hold it down. And I need to get a paper towel, Now I need something heavy. Let me see what I can find that's heavy. Well, there, 3 pounds of coffee. That's pretty heavy. Now we just cover this with the towel to keep anything out of it. And I go away for about 2 hours. Well, while I'm waiting, I decided to go ahead and skin the potato or the carrots, chopped up the garlic and the onions, and I decided that just isn't enough carrots for a quart. So I went out and pulled another one out of the garden, and that is the best carrot I've found yet. So let me go ahead and clean this guy up and add it to the mix. Well, they're red on the outside, but they're still orange on the inside. Now I just need to shred up the carrots with my food processor and then wait for this to be done. And more often than not, whenever I use this thing, I wind up drawing blood. We know how YouTube feels about blood, so I'm not going to record this part. Besides, you don't need to see how inept I really am in the kitchen. Okay, it's been a couple of hours. Let's see what we got here. Get rid of the coffee. Get rid of the bowl. And it looks like it has released some of the liquids. Not a lot. Next step, drain the Napa cabbage and rinse it well under cool running water. Squeeze it gently to remove excess liquid. Then cut it up into about 2-inch long pieces and return it to the popcorn bowl. So we'll do that here, and I'll probably be blocking the camera. This kitchen is not really designed as a video studio. Trying to get some of the salt off of it. There will be more salt coming on later on. Squeeze it gently to get rid of some of the water. Now I won't need that. Then we're going to cut the cores off. That's a good place for that. And cut it up into about 2-inch pieces. And return it to the popcorn bowl. Move the core. Rinse and repeat. One last time. And there's our cabbage. Next we take the carrots, garlic, and onions, put them into a bigger bowl so I got some room to work. And I have to add, okay, we take the ginger, and I need 1 tablespoon, no, 1 teaspoon of the ginger. That's still sealed. There. 1 teaspoon of ginger. Throw that in there. 1 teaspoon of salt. 1 teaspoon of sugar. And I'm going to add a little bit of a secret ingredient. Which is not in the recipe. And that is just a little bit of hot pepper mix. And I think I'm going to be careful and only put about a half a teaspoon. There we go with that. I'll seal these up again later. Mix it well. Oh, here comes the fun part. We mix this in with the cabbage. specifically says use your hands to toss it. Mix it well. And yes, I did wash my hands several times actually. There's like so. Now we stuff all of that into this jar. Which is going to be fun. So we take a little bit of this mixture, stick it in there, use our pickle packer, press it down into the jar, and then add some more. That one tried to get away. That one tried to get away too. And you might be able to see as I pack this in that it's releasing more of its juice. That's what you want it to do. And just keep shoving it in there till you can't shove any more in there. I do have to leave a little bit of headspace. I want to get the rest of these carrots especially. Take the leaf that I cut earlier, put it on top, add in the pickle pebble, that will hold everything down in there. No, I'm not sealing this, I'm just cleaning it up a little bit. Then we take our lid, pack it on like so, and there we have it. Looks pretty in the jar. Now I just put this in a cool, dark space right under here, and I wait. The recipe says to wait for about 3 to 5 days. So I'm going to eat the leftovers, and I'll bring y'all back in 3 to 5 days. Well, today is the 4th day of processing the kimchi, and it has been bubbling a lot. Check this out. But I want to see what it tastes like. So let's get into it. Whew, gonna make a mess. Take out the pickle puck. And take out that leaf that I put on top. Let's get in here and see what we got. Looks pretty good. The Napa cabbage is still a little bit crisp. This stuff is good. Well, now it's just a matter of put a lid on it and put it in the refrigerator. I'm sure there's some way you could can this stuff. After all, you can go to the grocery store and buy it in jars and cans. But I haven't looked into that yet, so maybe another project. Speaking of projects, there's a look at things to come. This video will be coming out probably in about 3 weeks. Meanwhile, I'm going to finish this off. That's going to be my breakfast today. And I hope you got something out of this rather long video. And I hope I see you next time.